There are moments in life when a single act of unexpected kindness feels like a beam of light cutting through a storm, and that is exactly what happened. The night a tired mother named Sarah Whitford pushed open the heavy glass door of a small Italian restaurant on the quieter side of Seattle, Washington. She looked like someone fighting a battle no one else could see, eyes swollen from sleep deprivation, hair pulled into a knot that barely held, clothes worn down to threads that told their own story of countless struggles. She carried a little girl, Mia, who clung to her like she was the last safe place in a world that kept proving itself unkind. And although she tried to hide it, Sarah desperately hoped someone inside would give her one meal, just one, that she wouldn't have to pay for. She had come to the restaurant because she heard they sometimes offered complimentary food to struggling families, and tonight she had no money at all. What she didn't know was that her entrance would collide with the presence of a man who lived in a world opposite. Hers a world of success, suits, and influence, a world she never imagined would pause long enough to notice her. But that night, Jonathan Pierce, one of the city's youngest CEOs, would not only notice her, he would become the reason her entire life changed. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and compassion, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Sarah could feel every judgmental glance the moment she entered. Even though no one said anything out loud, she could sense the pity, the curiosity, the quiet suspicion. She walked with her shoulders curled inward, trying to shield Mia from the coldness of the world and from the embarrassment she carried like a burden strapped to her chest. She sat at the far corner of the restaurant, by the window where only the faint city glow touched her. Mia's small stomach growled loud enough for Sarah to hear over the ambient music, and guilt struck her like lightning because she hadn't been able to feed her daughter anything substantial since morning. Her hands trembled as she looked over the menu, not to choose something to eat, but to mask the shame burning inside her. She knew she couldn't afford anything. She only hoped someone would notice her situation and quietly help. On the opposite side of the restaurant, Jonathan sat alone, reviewing documents on his tablet. He had come to this restaurant often, appreciating the calm atmosphere as an escape from his demanding schedule. Yet something made him look up. Maybe it was the soft whimper of a child, maybe it was the quiet defeat in Sarah's posture, or maybe it was the heaviness that surrounded her like a silent storm. Jonathan couldn't ignore it. He watched for a few moments, realizing that this wasn't a woman trying to take advantage of kindness. This was a mother trying desperately to protect her child from hunger and humiliation. Sarah took a deep breath and approached the counter, hoping the manager would remember the restaurant's occasional offer to struggling families. Her voice was polite, but carried the subtle crack of someone swallowing their pride. She explained she was going through a difficult time, that she had a child with her, and that she had heard they sometimes offered a free meal. The manager hesitated, unsure whether the offer still applied, his tone cooler than she hoped for, and Sarah mentally prepared herself for disappointment. It was in that small, painful moment where hope wavered that Jonathan quietly stepped forward. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't need thanks. He simply told the manager he would cover whatever the woman and her little girl needed, dinner, dessert, anything. And before Sarah could turn around or even react, he returned to his table as if nothing happened. But Sarah did turn. She saw him walking away. She saw a stranger choosing compassion when so many others chose to look away, and her eyes filled instantly with tears she couldn't hide. The meals arrived at their table shortly after: warm pasta, soft bread, small plates of fruit for Mia, and even a slice of cake for the little girl whose face lit up as if she had never seen something so sweet. Sarah watched Mia eat with the kind of relief that made her chest ache. Her daughter's joy was the greatest gift she could have asked for that night. But while Sarah watched her child savor every bite, Jonathan watched from a distance, noticing the way motherhood wrapped around Sarah like a shield and a weight all at once. As Sarah ate slowly, savoring what might be her first real meal in days, she kept glancing toward the man who had stepped in without seeking attention. Someone had once told her that wealthy people didn't understand real struggle, that CEOs were cold, unreachable machines thinking only of profits and deadlines. But what she saw that night contradicted everything she had been conditioned to believe. She saw a man who didn't hesitate to help a mother in distress, who didn't judge, who didn't question, who simply acted with a heart that recognized pain. When Mia finally fell asleep against her shoulder, full and peaceful, Sarah felt something inside her loosen. She hadn't felt safe in a long time, hadn't felt seen, hadn't felt like anyone was willing to give her life a chance to climb back up. Tonight, a stranger had given her more than food. He had given her a reminder that kindness still existed in the world, that she wasn't invisible, that someone cared. Later, when she tried to thank him on her way out because she couldn't possibly leave without acknowledging the man who had rewritten her entire evening, Jonathan listened quietly. She explained that she had lost her job 3 months earlier, that she'd been living in a small church shelter, that she had been applying everywhere with no luck, and that she often skipped meals just to keep Mia fed. She admitted she had come to the restaurant because she didn't know what else to do. She spoke with an aching honesty that surprised even her. Jonathan didn't respond with pity. He responded with purpose. He asked her what she used to do, what skills she had, and what she hoped for. He listened not as a CEO conducting an interview, but as a human being looking at another human being who deserved a fair chance. And when she told him she used to work in administrative support, handling, scheduling, and client coordination, something sparked in his mind. His company had been short-staffed. They needed someone organized, patient, and resilient. Sarah, even in her exhaustion, radiated all of those qualities. Over the next week, Sarah received a call she never expected, a job offer. Jonathan had personally recommended her to his hiring team, vouching for her work ethic even before she stepped into the office. They took his recommendation seriously, and suddenly Sarah found herself sitting at a polished desk on the 17th floor of a tall Seattle building, wearing borrowed office clothes that one of the shelter volunteers had ironed for her, holding a fresh notebook ready to begin again. It was overwhelming. It was life-changing. It was something she once believed was impossible. Jonathan saw her on her first day, greeting her with a warm nod that told her she belonged here. He didn't treat her differently from anyone else. He didn't hold his previous kindness over her. He simply opened a door and let her walk through it with dignity. And for Sarah, this was more than a job. It was oxygen. It was freedom. It was stability. It was the chance to rebuild a future for Mia. Months passed, and Sarah began to thrive. Her confidence returned slowly, like grass regrowing after a harsh winter. She found an apartment, a daycare, a routine, and a sense of control she hadn't felt in years. Mia grew happier, healthier, and more secure. They were building a life that finally felt rooted, and every now then, Jonathan would see them in the office lobby or cafeteria, and Mia would run to him, always remembering he was the man who bought her cake on the night her world changed. One evening, as Sarah walked home holding her daughter's hand, she realized that everything she had now, her job, her stability, her courage, traced back to one moment when a stranger looked past her worn clothes and tired eyes and saw her humanity. She whispered a prayer of gratitude, promising herself that one day she would pay that kindness forward. The memory of that first night stayed with her like a lantern she would carry for the rest of her life. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. Your engagement helps these emotional stories reach more beautiful souls. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe kindness can change someone's entire life? And so, Sarah and Mia's world didn't just improve, it transformed, not because of money or charity, but because one man chose empathy over indifference. One moment of compassion became a lifetime of change, and somewhere in Seattle a mother believed in hope again, or because a CEO ordered dinner for her little girl to